The future of work is automated. Welcome to Aivora.
Here's the thing about corners in video games. In 2011, Crysis 2 shipped with a new trick that made shadows cling to the edges of walls. Gamers didn't notice why, but something felt different. Corners looked darker, more grounded. The illusion was subtle, powerful, and secretly fake. But corners don't actually look like that. In real life, light bounces and scatters into every crevice. That deep black wedge in the game? It's not how physics works. What they showed you was a clever hack, a trick that sacrifices accuracy for speed. Which means every game before 2012 was lying to you in a different way. Flat lighting made everything look floaty. Corners were too bright. So the question is, how do you fake the subtle darkness that makes a room feel real, using only a fraction of the computing power? That darkness has a name: ambient occlusion. It's the soft shadow that appears where two surfaces meet, a wall and floor, a table leg and carpet. In film rendering, artists baked this in for hours per frame. But games need 60 frames per second. Before 2012, developers pre-baked these shadows into static textures. It looked great, until something moved. A box slid across the floor? No new shadow. A door opened? The corner stayed dark. Dynamic worlds needed a dynamic solution. And that solution was Screenspace. Enter Screenspace Ambient Occlusion, SSAO. The idea is simple: for every pixel on screen, peek at its neighbors in the depth buffer. If there's a wall nearby, darken the pixel. No scene geometry needed. Just a flat, 2D depth image. Pure cleverness. But here's how it works under the hood: around each pixel, you fire several random rays outward, say 8, 16, or 32. If most rays hit another surface in the depth buffer, the pixel is occluded. Darken it. Repeat for every pixel. That's the secret. Crytek's Tiago Sousa and team implemented this in CryEngine 3 for Crysis 2. The result? Dynamic shadows that followed moving objects, corners that felt grounded. The tech was so efficient it ran on Xbox 360 and PS3. A miracle for 2011 hardware. That breakthrough let designers place a crate in a corner and watch it automatically cast a dark crevice underneath. No manual work. No baking. The game world felt alive. And the best part? It cost only about 1 millisecond per frame on a mid-range GPU. But there's a catch. SSAO is a hack, and hacks show their seams. Corners sometimes get a weird glowing halo. Objects in motion flicker. Fine details like grass or hair produce noise. The illusion breaks if you look too closely, and critics noticed. Drop a like if this surprised you. Because here's what I found: the community quickly started picking apart those artifacts. Modders created toggles to disable SSAO, revealing how much of the mood was fake. But the genie was out of the bottle. The biggest limitation? SSAO can't see what's off-screen. If a wall ends at the edge of your monitor, the corner shadow disappears. And because it works in screen space, it cannot handle occlusion from geometry hidden behind the camera. Total blind spot. So NVIDIA and others iterated. Horizon-based ambient occlusion, HBAO, improved quality by sampling in a hemisphere instead of a sphere. Later, HBAO Plus added smarter filtering. Each iteration reduced artifacts, but the core screen space trade-offs remained. In 2012, at GDC, Crytek presented a talk titled exactly that: corners don't look like that. They laid out the history, the failures, and the future of SSAO. The message was honest: we're faking it, but with enough cleverness, the brain buys it. Why does this matter? Because immersive games rely on your brain trusting the light. A missing shadow tells your subconscious the object is floating. SSAO was the cheapest way to fix that trust. It's why games after 2012 suddenly felt more solid. But today we have ray tracing. NVIDIA's RTX hardware can trace actual light paths, producing physically correct ambient occlusion. No more halos, no more flicker. But it's expensive, even a high-end card drops frames. So SSAO still lives in most games. Today, SSAO is the default in nearly every game. Fortnite, Call of Duty, even mobile titles use it. It's the hidden workhorse that makes flat walls look connected. Nobody tells you that the corner shadow you see is still a guess, but it's a very smart guess. If you're building games or just love graphics tech, hit subscribe. I break down these visual secrets every week. From ambient occlusion to LOD systems, we dig into the tricks that make games look real. Next time you play, you'll see the code. But SSAO is just one piece. The real secret to realistic game visuals is combining several hacks. Each one imperfect, but together they create the illusion. We've uncovered what the corners are hiding. Now it's time to look at surfaces themselves. Next up, the secret of subsurface scattering, why skin doesn't look like plastic. We'll look at how light travels through materials and why most game faces still look fake. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Corners may not look like that, but skin is even more deceptive.